Hey guys, namaste. So I recently did a review. You can see I still have some good light, so I wanted to make a video while the light was still good because it can be so tricky. I had done a review of this book, Awakening Shakti by Sally Kempton, and I'll put the link to that. So I wanted to continue in that about Shakti with this book, which is a little bit older, and you can see it's kind of beat up. It's called Shakti Mantras. Okay, can you see that? Shakti Mantras by Thomas Ashley Farrand. He has passed away, but he has, I would say, about 3 books and some audio programs as well. Very much he was Western, but a mantra master of chants and Sanskrit mantras. And so this book, Shakti Mantras, Shakti is about the sort of, how to characterize it. He says, tapping into the great goddess energy within. So Shakti is about the, in Eastern thought, there's in masculine and feminine energy in all things, right? Way beyond human, like transpersonal, beyond just human. And it manifests in different ways. And so these mantras are to work with the energy of the divine feminine, basically. So I wanted to do a review of this book and just bring it to your attention. So this book, just like Sally Kempton's, has wonderful stories about the Hindu or Indian gods. I'm going to just read the table of contents for you, so you have an idea of what the book has. Shakti Mantras. The basics: chakras, Sanskrit, and Shakti. Saraswati is one of the goddesses. The power of knowledge and speech, so he explains Saraswati. Parvati, the power of consciousness and spiritual growth, so he explains the goddess Parvati. Laskhmi, the power of abundance. You probably heard of Laskhmi because she's the most popular because of abundance. Durga and Chamundi, the power of protection, and he talks about them, and gives wonderful stories that help you sort of understand, and that's what I really believe the stories are for, is that they're not so much literal as meant to encode knowledge, ideas, and understanding, and science now is talking very much about how we remember and how we learn, and saying that stories are key to that, and I think the ancients knew that. So there are stories, that are sort of fantastical, but they've come down through thousands of years because you remember them. So I'm just saying that the stories are a way to make sure knowledge is passed down. And it sort of encodes it, so not everybody will necessarily see the meanings behind the stories. He goes into Lalita, the great feminine, with 1,000 powers, Kali, and you've probably heard of Kali, the power of destruction of negative ego. She's not just like wanton destruction, so sort of going into the spiritual meaning. Kuan Yin, the power of divine compassion. Tara, the power of the Divine Mother. He talks about misuse of Shakti power and Shakti in your life. And so in each chapter, he gives a series. Let me just see if I can, let's just go to Lakshmi. He gives you a story, that helps you to understand the goddess. Right, and then he gives you a series of different mantras. He goes, like the birth of Lakshmi, he explains the origin story of her birth, and which it's really, really fascinating, and the gods and how things came about. And then he takes it down to the personal level. He gives an example of a woman who he said basically seemed to really embody Lakshmi. Then he goes into different Lakshmi mantras, like Om Shrim Lakshmaye Swaha, which is to invoke financial prosperity. And you've probably heard some variations of that. Om Shrim Maha Lakshmaye Swaha. And he explains the difference between each one. There's one even to become more attractive. Om Padma Sudraye Namaha, to make the personality more pleasing. So he goes through different Lakshmi-related mantras. There's like 8 of them, and then then he goes into Davantari, who's the celestial healer. So you really can learn the mantras. He also gives the pronunciation. I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it up close. He gives like the pronunciation below the actual mantra, like it's written out so that you can pronounce it in English with certainty. So I find it very, very good. I really, really quite liked it. It is different than the Sally Kempton. The Sally Kempton is newer. Obviously, it's a lot thicker. Her book came out much more recently. You know, if you want a female perspective, hers is 2013. Thomas Ashley Farrand was 2003. Now, of course, these are ancient mantras, so don't go by, you know, which book is newer. That is not necessarily going to be, you know, what's important. And you can see my book is a little beat up and it has gotten wet, I believe. It has a glossary. It gives you terms like Atri, aura, divining it in the spiritual tradition, Ajna chakra, what's an avatar, what is the Kali Yuga, which is the age we're said to be in, you know, defining guru, defining the Gayatri mantra, Kala chakra, what is that? Kala, which is my nickname, which is Sanskrit for time. A lot of things that are a little more unusual. Mantra City, what is that? When you have Mantra City. Manipura chakra. So I really, really like this book. I like the stories that he shares. His writing voice is different than Sally Kempton's. I do own both of them. I don't know necessarily that you would have to own both of them. So I'm going to put the links below to Amazon and just check them out. See if one is more appealing to you than the other. Let me look at the price even. The Thomas Ashley Farrand is $14.95, and the Awakening Shakti was $19.95. It is a bigger book. So both are wonderful, and maybe I'll just close with doing some mantra. If you're drawn to mantra, then this would be a wonderful, wonderful way to learn them. Let's see. Let's do... Here's one. To invoke and produce the peace of Lakshmi. Because Lakshmi, as I said, is not just about abundance. In the West, we tend to simplify. I think we simplify these goddesses, like especially if you take yoga. You may hear a little bit about them, and I think we tend to simplify them. So here's what he says about this particular mantra. To invoke and produce the peace of Lakshmi, this is one of her powers, her attributes. There are times when peace in its dynamically powerful application is the only remedy that will satisfy a current problem. But someone must be the vessel of that peace. There must be a person who has developed the capacity to carry that great peace that automatically calms any situation and which by its very nature begins to restore reason. Kind of like what we need now in the US, really. If you desire to become such a person, then this mantra will be invaluable to you in your service to others. And it's very simple. Om Shantiye Namaha. Om Shantiye Namaha. Om Shantiye Namaha. Om and salutations to she who is the giver of peace. So, very good book. I recommend checking it out if you're into mantras, specifically related to the Divine Feminine. If you want to know the stories behind some of these goddesses, then in the English language, then this is a good book, and check it out. The link will be below. It will be an affiliate link. So if you go to Amazon and you end up purchasing this or another book, I get a small amount at no charge to you. So there's no extra charge. It's just for sending you over to Amazon. They give like 25 cents or something. And so I thank you for supporting the channel, and leave a note below if there are any other books that you have that you think are wonderful, especially about the Shakti and goddess tradition.